What's up, everyone? Welcome back to a too long delayed episode of the Double Doors podcast. We couldn't do it the week after the RMRs. I had a personal emergency. Liam, you were all ready, and I think you had your new mic finally, so we
I
actually could
did.
hear you. Look at that! Here,
I
that's
sound
so
amazing,
good.
bro.
It's so good. We're so happy that we were finally able to get you fixed up.
You can see it.
I think I'm over too at this point. I've had this thing since 2017. It's literally been almost 6 years. This is the first podcast mic that I had, and I need like a new arm. I need a whole thing. You know what I really need to do is I need to like redo my desk setup because I did it in a rush when I first moved in and then never adjusted it. And I've got like wires everywhere, and I'm just like I never even set up like my Ethernet properly. So like I've got to do a whole thing.
That is some filler. That's some filler fluff content for the website. Ryan redoes his setup.
Is that how you're describing our listen? I will just say, like, today content was bare today. I had a hard time. We pushed out the thing about JDM, which we'll get to in a second, but I was just like, no NATs at IEM Rio. Period. I was like hoping for twists. I actually started an article if phase one. I did the math actually. This was going to be Twist's 10th playoff at ESL Pro League. So big. You're right. 10 times. That's pretty good.
Especially because he's like 22.
Yeah, he's very young. I mean, his first one was obviously with. I think it was actually TSM was his first one. No,
TSM. No way that team made playoffs.
Way back, like season 4
really?
when they went to finals, because I think they got third. He might have gone to a pro league with TN. I can't remember exactly, but I knew it was going to be his 10th. That was my math. And he's won it 3 times. Once with Liquid, twice with FaZe, and this could have been his 4th. It would have been very interesting.
Impressive.
I know. So it could have been. Oh no, this isn't pro league. This is IEM Rio. What the fuck?
What have you been smoking?
Oh my god, dude! What is wrong with me?
I was like pro league is ages ago,
dude. I don't even. Wow. Thank God I didn't post anything like that. That's how. Okay, so that is how much out of it like a daze I am right now. I'm thinking this. They're all the same at this point. They're all the same. Am I wrong? It's IEM Malta, IEM Rio. Anyways, that's bad. Well, FaZe did bad in the last IEM Rio, and now
it's like IEM
in this one.
That's their like IEM spring, and then there's gonna be IEM fall, which hasn't been announced where it's gonna be, but
make that one the IEM China that apparently
for the last one that was like sitting on HLTV for like 9 months, and I was like, damn, there's an IEM China that just disappeared one day. It was just gone.
They literally, it's never gonna happen. I don't think it's ever gonna happen.
No, God no. Like it's gonna be a while before we see events back in China, back in anywhere towards the CIS region. Like it's gonna be very European based for a long time now.
It's gonna be very, very tough to like figure out like how they're gonna handle that kind of stuff. So well, that just shows my brain farting today. Glad the only article I helped push out was the JDM one. I didn't do any damage that is embarrassing besides ragging on Nell today. That was fun. Praying for his downfall.
It's a day ending in Y. You have to be ragging on Nell.
It's fair. I mean, look, I didn't think that his tweet was actually that bad. I mean, it's the same cockiness that like I put a tweet in. That's like, they're good when they're playing as an underdog and they're bad when they're playing as an overdog. It's the same case for Liquid. They're very good when they play as underdogs, and then when they face a much lesser opponent, they play down to their level.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we saw that with Nouns. If that's how we want to now segue into the RMR coverage, look at that.
Yeah, when I was putting together the sheet for this podcast, I was like, we have to start off with one thing specifically. From an organizational standpoint, you were there on site. How much of a shit show really was it?
Okay, so I don't want to be bad. I don't want to badmouth Liga Ace because the people that were behind Liga Ace are some of the nicest people there. They wanted to do everything for us. They wanted to really make this a good event. And I spoke with them constantly, and I'm mad because I never did an interview with any of them, but they were talking about how like they want Monterey to be a place for esports in North America. They want to host more CS events. They want to be able to do this. They want to really make Monterey a place where people can come in and do these events. And I will say the location was magnificent. They had everything set up. They really took care of people. They made sure that they from a first time hosting an event of this magnitude, they did things probably about 75% of the way if no one actually really told them what to do, which I think unfortunately is kind of the case here, is that they just were not prepared. And I don't know who that blame falls on. Like, we walk in and I immediately find out that the strikes in Germany, which are underreported in the US, I don't know how much you know about these strikes in Germany, where the airports are a shit show. You can't ship anything out of them. And they were trying to get servers, they were trying to get all this equipment. None of it was coming. So they get there, and like 4 or 5 days, I guess, something very close, they had to buy new servers. They had to buy all new servers for this event. So they had to go out and buy it and get it there. And then they were supposed to get the headphones, the noise canceling headphones. And their idea was that they were going to have the opponents looking at one another across the way. They like had sectioned it off. And so it was like a hallway, and you would have the teams facing off against kind of like one another. They could see it, and it would be like, battle.
Yeah.
Fine. I don't think that's kind of the right way how they should do things, even with the noise canceling headphones, but it should have been fine. Noise canceling headphones never come in. They literally have to go out and buy HyperX Cloud 2s, and like everyone wears those. So those
were the ones I was pricing when I got this new headset last week.
They just bought the whole thing in bulk. They just were like, we need them today.
No, yeah.
So they did that. So they had to configure all of that. Then the days before, players had been saying that there were power outages in the hotel. They couldn't practice. Wi-Fi had been going in and out. So obviously there were some team issues there. Liquid had reported, they made some tweets about it. So I saw that. And then when we get there, first day, they're like shit hits the fan. Like they had a power issue, which everyone was like, oh, well, just buy generators. It's not the solution here. In all honesty, it was not the solution, because the power is coming from the giant mall and hotel into this specific area. It's not. Maybe this is me just not super educated on it, but it's not like they're running it in their own independent section. Like, the power is coming from the hotel, which reasonably should have enough. So at first, it was a power issue, and that caused them to not be able to run checks and not upgrade systems and not be able to get everything ready from a network perspective. So it was a cascading effect of the power issue then caused a network issue, which then delayed all the games for the several hours, which is why day one was so long. So that was the first issue. And then when we get in there, there's a TeamSpeak issue or something. Now, the problem was with the network connections, coaches, they had to manually mute and unmute the coaches on TeamSpeak. The program, for some reason, was not working. There is an automated program that's supposed to read what happens in the game. When they call a tactical timeout, a coach is automatically unmuted in TeamSpeak. That was not happening, which obviously is bad. So they had to manually mute and unmute. And coaches would go ahead and be like, well, I can't talk to my team. My team can't hear me. And that's how we get pictures and videos of them taking up the headset and like yelling it to everyone. Or like he's grabbing someone else's headset and he's trying to speak into it. Not good. And like the reports that coaches were able to unmute and mute themselves, like some coaches said that there were some allegations about that from teams, none of which I could find substantiated. And Blast and League of Ace told me all of that was impossible. Like, it should absolutely be impossible. And the coaches might think that they can, like they could switch a button to mute and unmute themselves, but they could not be heard.
There was no actual control. Yeah.
Right. And I think, however, think the other problem is coaches could talk, but it's the responsibility of the admins there to be able to say, coach, shut the fuck up. But because players don't have the noise canceling headsets, theoretically, a coach could have been able to start talking and like the players might be able to hear. I don't know, but that is theoretically a possibility because they don't have the noise canceling headsets on. So all of that was a shit show.
There was also the case of who were the coaches that were supposedly like not vetted to be behind the team? Like,
okay, so this was also very fun. So we had the Los Plus One coach and the Paqueta coach. Here's what happened there. We wrote up about this. The Los Plus One coach was told he had emails that said he was allowed to coach, and then so did the Paqueta coach. However, this is what the miscommunication was, and all of this happened after the deadline. of putting in your coach rosters. So no matter what, they actually could not have been coaches. No matter what Blast said, if Blast went ahead and fucked up and had the rule of like, yeah, you can totally come coach, not their rule. It's Valve's rule of the timeline. So they were not submitted at the timeline as the coaches because Peacemaker for Los Plus One was kicked like 3 days before the RMR, and they've then kicked 2 players since then. So that team's a whole shit show. And the Paqueta coach, he had something that he had to stay home for, and he was devastated by, so he couldn't physically go, and that's why they had the replacement. And all of that happened like days before, not like it was close to the deadline. So the player management for Blast went ahead and was like, yeah, you can totally come. Like, here's your stuff to let us know all your shit. And you can totally come and you participate as the coach. And they did it for both coaches. So both coaches were like, well, the player management travel said that we could go. The rules team never talked with them. There was never any communication from the coach, from these new coaches to the rules team or to any other operations team about like, what's going on here? Can we play? So that was the issue. And we noticed it because we're like, why the fuck is this coach? Why is he there? He shouldn't.
Why the
be
fuck
there.
is Ryan Friend behind MIBR and an MIBR wife beater?
Right. It's like, what's going on here? That shouldn't happen. And so we pointed that out and we did that. Well, so the Los Plus One coach, that happens. I see him coaching. We see the pictures. We know he's coaching, and so we read the report. Like we had no idea. And then he said afterwards, like, oh, I had these papers or whatever. And everyone's like, that seems super weird. And then I see the Paqueta coach who's coaching, and we're like, oh my God, he's behind the screen as well. What's going on? So the game ends. I walk up to the coach and I'm like, hey, how are you coaching? You're not the coach. And he was like, I was told I could. And I was like, who? And he's like, the player management. And he shows me the emails. He shows me everything. I see all of this. And I was like, so what the fuck? And I go to Blast. I'm like, what the fuck? And Blast is like, yeah, should not have coached. Don't know how this slipped through the fingers here. No admin was asking a question. No one was asking the question, who are you? Why are you validated to be here? No one was just asking the question. And honestly, I don't know how much I can blame them because honestly, are you really going in? Like, everyone should just know the rules. It's like kind of bad on every party here. The coaches should have known the rules and the admins at the same time. It seems really stupid, but they're like, what's your identity? How we confirm that you're allowed to be here? Are you on the team roster list?
Yeah.
And the admins, they're not CS admins. They're from FGC. They don't know what, like, they're not familiar with the rules. And all it comes down to, honestly, is that this was a inappropriate tournament to give to Liga Ace at this time.
Yeah.
It was too big. It was not the right time to do so. And Liga Ace was wholly unprepared. They should have had something smaller. They should have had something more insignificant to get wrong. And then they can do this right.
Yeah, for sure. It sounds like there's multiple lapses of integrity across that, which you don't want with the qualifier for the biggest tournament of the year. And now that it's the only major, so
it was bad. It was really not good.
Because it was so hard for me to keep up with it because, like, the way that the times were running, like, you obviously had the delays on the first day that pushed the second round of games to the following day. And for me over in EU, like, I was waking up, I'd look at Discord, I see like the last message was 6 or 7 a.m. I was like, damn, I nearly was awake when you guys were still finishing up.
Yeah.
And then, like, I've been doing work with Blast, so I was helping out with their EU or more stuff. So I was like, okay, I'll focus on NA later, and then it would catch up again. I'd be transcribing interviews. I was like, oh, okay, he's like happy to be back. Like, it seems to be going okay over there. And then I'd look on our homepage and I'd see all these like articles and stuff that I was going through. I was like, fuck is going on over there?
No, it was pretty bad. And then the other one that was always interesting was that we had to tell them what to do for press, which I think was the weirdest conversation I've ever had to do. So what happened was they had the camera. So you've been to the events, you know what and here's the deal. So for everyone that sees it at home, you see the camera looking very much at one player and then slightly down the road. You can barely see the outlines of the players like down the road. That's kind of the one cam. What Liga Ace wanted to do was like, okay, well, we're gonna put it at the opposite station. So if you have station A, station B, right? You had a camera here that looked at the other one, and you had the camera here that looked at the other one. So it crossed. That was a problem because then you couldn't go through the hallway without crossing in front of the cameras.
That's just production 101. Yeah.
Is bad. Like, you don't want people crossing through the cameras. Of course. Totally understand. But we look at that, and our photographer goes, well, what am I supposed to do? And they're like, well, what do you mean? He's like, what do you mean? I have to take photos. And they're like, well, can you take them from all the way back here, like 2 stations back? And he's like, how can I get the winning moment from here? He's like, I have to take photos. So we had to look at them and be like, well, you guys need to change the cameras. And they're like, why? And we're like, because this is our job. We need to be able to cover this. We're giving appropriate coverage. That's what we need to do. And they were like, oh. They're like, yeah. They're like, how are you expecting photos to get put on HLTV, to get used in articles, to get broadcast with your things in the background? Like, you can't. We have to get the player reactions here. So that was a very tough one that we had to tell them how to do that. And then there was no press room. We were told that there was going to be a press room. We did not have a press room at first. We had no dedicated Wi-Fi. I was using my hotspot. I used approximately 30 gigs on the first day, hotspotting for about 6 people. We were trying to all upload things. It was bad. They did fix it, but we didn't get our own room. We were stuck in this like dining room where all the employees would like have lunch, and they would have like cater foods. And we asked, and then like they would all have cater foods except for the 6 press people. We did not have cater food, which is like, okay.
To be fair, like any ESL event, they'd say fuck you to the press when it comes to, because that was the funny thing. Like, did you see Harry's tweet, Nero?
No.
What he was saying, like they had given them catered food for the first few days, and then they took it away or something. So he's giving out about that, and I was like, we never fucking get it at ESL. Like, we happen that you even got it.
They have like snacks. They have like mini snacks. They had mini snacks for the major, which was nice.
In Katowice, we had Indian like 11 days out of 14, like takeaway.
So that was the tough part about the RMR. It was just it just reeked of a company that was very highly inexperienced of running an event of this magnitude. They didn't have clear direction on what they were doing, and I think the same case happened for the Asian RMR. People just didn't know what they were supposed to be doing. Which, when you look at it, like, I think you know me. I think people know me at this time. I'm always like trying to give the benefit of doubt to everyone, and I will go probably overreaching in my benefit of the doubt. I am not as harsh as I potentially could be on certain things like this. I always want to see the best, but this was just wholly inadequate. It was not good, and I find it difficult to see if Liga Ace get to run another RMR unless they can prove with other events that they host for Counter-Strike that they know what they're doing now. And I hope that's the case. They should have time, and they should run the event. I don't know who's running the event in North America. I don't know who besides them, or they're doing it they're doing the RMR in Brazil. I don't know.
They're probably going to be able to dedicate a lot more resources for their spring finals than with the RMR, where you have it spread out, because it's the way the Valve wanted. Is like they want to spread out with it. They had to spread their resources across 2 European RMRs, an Asian RMR, and an America's RMR. Whereas for spring finals, there's going to be 8 teams in one location that they know months in advance.
Yeah, Blast doesn't do wide scale operations.
That's the thing. Is like when people talk about like wanting a Blast major for ages, you kind of understand why ESL have gotten so good at it over the years. They have so much experience on these larger scale events. They have so much more resources that they can send towards it, and they know how to react when things do start to go wrong.
And let me tell you what's going to happen. The PGL RMRs are going to be in one location in Europe.
Yeah, PGL are
not they're going to scale them back to back to back for 3 weeks. They're not going to just do it in North America or do it in Asia.
Romania.
I mean, it's literally going to be held in Romania.
It's going to be Romania.
I'm fully prepared for that to happen, and I'm fully prepared. Like, and here's the thing now at the point is that, do people then get mad at PGL, right? Do people get mad at PGL for then hosting it there? Everyone got up in arms for ESL not running it in America because they were like, the visa situation is tough. We can't run it in North America. We don't have the thing. We can't. And then what? Were they going to run it in Mexico with partners of Liga Ace? They don't know Liga Ace. They don't have operations set up there. Like, you see what I mean now is that it kind of made sense.
Yeah, I think Blast wanted to try and capitalize on the fact that people were so mad about it last time, which is like they were spreading themselves too thin. Yes. But that, like I just said about ESL are much more large scale. They're able to manage these. Like they have bases across the globe. It's a massive company that's worth a lot of money. So I don't see why they can't go do it like that. But PGL,
but PGL's winning the major, so we'll see. I know
that. That's what I mean. Like PGL isn't as big as ESL in terms of like their management of it. So
again, it's like I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. All right, let's get into actually talking about the RMR.
The actual RMR,
yeah. So the biggest drama leading up to this, I think, had to be two things. It was an inconsistent Liquid, and it was a Furia that has been down in the dumps. The subplot to all of this was Pain look like fucking insane players, and then the subplot was Imperial made spring finals in DC. Are they on this lucky streak? Can they actually do something in Monterrey? Those were my four things that I was like, is this possible? The answer to all of those things was answered on day one. Furia looked decent. Liquid stomped the shit out of their first opponent. Imperial lost to goddamn EG, which had a dead main team because they had already like signed Refresh, and Pain looked good. So that was the case immediately off the bat. What did you see?
Yeah, I think the Imperial one is hilarious. Like I woke up to that and I was like, it's just two teams that I just don't believe in at all whatsoever. Like it was the battle
of mid. They were worse.
Not even mid. It's worse than mid. This is like watching like two relegation teams that are both like they've already been relegated. I don't care who wins this game. You're not a winner if you win this game. You're still a loser in my eyes. So,
yeah, it was not great.
Yeah, I think the Liquid's day one was the one that kind of stood out to me the most because 00 Nation had a really good pro league. They're still missing Taco, which I don't know what to think of because this N9 XTZ kid just isn't it.
I think they'll probably figure it out now that they're not doing anything, especially because they apparently pulled out of the Katowice closed qualifier for South America. So I think that 00 Nation is just kind of like, we're figuring this out. Taco is taking his time, best to him. I don't know what's going on, but like best to him in whatever case. But they need to figure out a solution, and clearly it's not the 9X TZ kid.
I say this pretty much every time we come up to a major or like come up to what could be a break afterwards. I could see a Brazilian shuffle happening soon enough because I think like 00 Nation, they had their flash in the pan at Pro League, and then they got absolutely decimated by Liquid, so they're not doing great. MIBR were my pick to go through from like, so me and you both had our same four, and I think we actually had the same five in general, but for pretty much everyone they had the same four of Complexity, Liquid, Pain, and Furia to go through, and then the fifth was more kind of like a wild card. But a lot of people had MIBR, and MIBR.
I think I did MIBR. I had
MIBR as well.
I might have thrown in EG just as like, this could potentially happen. Like dead team bounce. You never know.
Their day one loss to Flamengo really let them down though, and Insani missing out on the majors.
It didn't let them down. They won 2-0 against 00 Nation. Then they beat Bestia 2-1. Then they had to play Complexity in the winners. That was the problem. And Complexity had known fucking MIBR because MIBR screwed them over in this, like in all of these qualifiers. Rio, so they were like, we're coming in, we come for revenge, and they just crushed them.
I think the let them down isn't the right phrase. I think it put them immediately on the back foot because that was the whole point of this system at the moment was once you go down to 0-1, your back's against the wall.
Yeah.
So you really needed a strong start there.
Yeah.
Who else? Furia for me were like they did the job. That's what they had to do. They had to go get that legend spot, and they did it. Pain, I actually feel really unfortunate that Pain didn't get the legend spot. That would have been huge for them.
They They should have.
They lost 16-14.
They really should have.
They bottled it, yeah.
They blew it in ways that I actually like can't believe that they blew it. Like a 16-14 on Mirage. They were good on Mirage. And it just is like they had it. They had it. And I think that's the toughest part because this Furia, the Furia was good, but they were not convincing. That was worrisome. Like I totally thought that they were going to get their shit kicked in against Pain. But ever since losing to EG Black, they haven't lost.
Yeah.
And tonight they play Cloud9. And honestly, Cloud9 hasn't looked pretty great either. And they shouldn't really be in the position that they're in. And I think that Furia might be able to get this and somehow make semifinals and be in semifinals of a hometown event and have a legitimate shot at winning. Like, they're a confidence team. What more confidence do you need than making it back-to-back at IEM Rio semifinals and potentially winning it all? Like, but going through their matches, it was the 16-6 against Last Plus One. Did you have any concerns after that? I didn't. It just was like, okay, Furia's here. And mind you, all of this was after Gary's tweet thread where he was like, we couldn't make radical changes. We have already made mega changes. And like, we're going to figure this shit out. And we are not afraid of making changes anymore.
What's that change, do you think, that, like, in your mind, what's the change for Furia that he was hypothetically talking about?
My hot take is that they're considering cutting Safe, even though he's one of the better performers on the team. The second option is cutting Art.
For Biggie's era. Give me a Biggie's era leading Furia. Oh my lord.
That would be insane.
I claim him as Irish CS because he lived in Dublin for years.
Wait, what?
Yeah, do you not know that?
No.
He lived in Dublin for years. I feel like you told me
this before, actually.
Yeah, because Hockey told me about it. So did their manager as well. I can't remember what his name is, but he's my claim to Irish CS.
His last name is Bittencourt. Isn't he like German ancestry?
Yeah.
Probably.
But
yeah. So and then Furia beat Liquid 2-1. Now, if there's a team that I am more worried about than Furia, it is Liquid. Liquid just not great. Not convincing. It was
Liquid could really have used an IEM Rio run right now, as in, like, if they went to IEM Rio now, made finals, and went and won it or something, the confidence that they'd have going into the major, because
you know what, dude? No. That team feels so broken to me. It feels so fucked that what they needed was to not do anything for a month. They're leaving for the boot camp. What's today? Wednesday? They're leaving for the boot camp on Friday. They're boot camping straight through to the major. So obviously that's going to be pretty big. And once they go there, presumably I think that they're going to make the second stage. They should. I mean, they should, but I say this, the challenger stage is pretty fucking tough. You've got FaZe in there. Like,
this major is somehow more scuffed than Rio was.
The challengers,
and Rio's fucking scuffed.
The challenger stage is harder, in my opinion, than the legend stage.
Yeah, I mean, like,
this way.
When you have Fnatic versus Bait getting a legend spot at 3-0.
And you know what I would like to say is that at the RMR, we were there and Bait was 2-0, and I looked at everyone and I go, Bait don't.
They're bottling it. Yeah,
I was like, Bait don't make it, and I called it because I was like, against Fnatic, they're not going to win. They don't have the experience of being at the top level. You can win 2 best of ones, but to get there at the top level, you have to be consistent. And
there's always that one team.
There always is. There's always one team.
There's always one team that goes up 2-0, and then there's always a team that's 0-2 that pulls it all the way back, which was ENCE. But quick shout out to Messiosa, who actually called out Wrinkle, that kid for Bait, the opera. Mm-hmm. He said it to me months ago. He was like, this kid's the next big thing. And then he went and he was their bright spot at the RMR. So,
and speaking of teams that did not that would have lost first and then later qualified, actually did not happen at the Americas RMR. Every team that qualified won their first game.
Yeah, because I think it was like we said, straight to 0-1.
Yes. And the teams that probably could have qualified if we did have 6 spots. I mean, you would have had Nouns, MIBR, potentially Paqueta, potentially Evil Geniuses in there. It's overall like it was hard. Trying to just look at our sheet. Okay. Yes.
How the fuck did Fluxo
Fluxo qualifying. We're all in agreement that these guys are going to be the 03, right?
Oh yeah, massively.
Yeah, I mean they play Pain first round, which is going to be really tough for them. They got destroyed 2-0. Their route to qualifying was Ur, which let me check that score. The Ur one was 16-13, and Ur legitimately could have won that. There were many times that I thought they were going to win that overpass game. And then they played Bestia, who Bestia like fluked their way through at 3-0 in the South American, which is why they got like a crazy high seed. But they beat Bestia also 16-14. So right there, you only have a 4-round difference in your 2-0s. Compare that to Liquid, who won 16-4, 16-6. Like, it was very close for Bestia in both of those for Fluxo. And then they play Pain, and they get 2-0'd. And then they play Paqueta. And Paqueta, their wins were over Team Solid and over Evil Geniuses, which they shouldn't even beaten Evil Geniuses, to be perfectly honest. Evil Geniuses should have won that, and I'm mad at them for losing it. That was it was insane to me. Like yeah, so like Fluxo had the easiest draw of getting in there, and they should not have won. I mean, when you look at the other ones, Furia had to play Liquid to qualify. Pain had to at least play Complexity to qualify, and they know each other, and that was always going to be a tough one. And that was a best of one as well. Complexity had to play their toughest. They had to play MIBR, Imperial, and Pain, and
3 well-known teams, like
3 decent teams. And Fluxo only had to play Pain. So tough one there.
You know what's the crazy thing about the Fluxo one though? Like obviously, a lot of people know Phelps, but VSM, if I'm not mistaken, was VAC banned for years, and he only was unbanned at around the same time as Yampy, I think it was.
Yes, they were unbanned in that when they revised the rules and everything. So this is his first major. So I want to give congrats to VSM. I don't think he's quite lived up to the potential that he had out in Brazil. But I mean, listen, he was VAC banned and now he has a sticker.
Do you know what it reminds me?
Pretty cool for him.
Do you know what it reminds me of? Is it would be like if Swag got unbanned. Like Swag would not be the same player that all the hype from him being banned for years. But this is like Swag getting a sticker.
It is like Swag getting a sticker. It is like Swag getting a sticker. So it's cool to see. Okay, was there anything else on the sheet? Yeah, MIBR missing out was tough. Actually, like really annoyed that was just how the Swiss system put the two together. Like I look at that and I'm like, if MIBR played Fluxo, we would have MIBR as the 5th team. And I feel like they should, but also given their IEM Rio performance, like a little tough. Insani has not been Insani as of late, which is also tough. Maybe I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's nerves. Maybe it's settling into our team. Maybe people have figured him out. But at this point, like I'm hoping the kid can come back. He deserves to come back. He is really good. It's been pretty not great for him. He's had some tough games as of late. What else? And then Twist. God, Twist almost missing out. Not good. That Cloud9 phase game could have literally been a grand final of anything. And I don't know. I don't know if FaZe are going to do well. I don't know how Twist is only one part of that component, but I don't think this last major is gonna speak well for Twist here. I think they're gonna go into this challenger stage, and it's gonna be really, really tough.
Do you know what team I saw from FaZe when it came to that last chance qualifier? It's backs against the wall phase. Backs against the wall phase is best phase. So I also found it funny that it was 17 spots for Europe because NA was so bad, and it's an NA player that gets it. So that was. You
do want to know what the funniest thing is going to be though in this major?
What?
It's going to be Pain versus FaZe for the round 2 best of 1.
That's a banger.
I hate it. I hate it so much. It is the worst.
I want that as a best of 3 though.
I would love it as a best of 3, but it's going to be a best of 1, and it's going to blow, and I'm going to hate it because Monty is the number 1 seed. Do you want to get into seedings? Because there's been a lot of questions about seedings. Do you want to like take this segue and do this? Because I want to fight with you because I think you and I have different opinions on this.
See, the thing is about the seeding is I haven't looked into it all that much. Like, I know it's been bad, and I still don't fully understand Bushell's system.
So I don't inherently enjoy the Buchholz system. And here's I do and I don't. I have fights with it, but ultimately at the end of the day, my hot take is I think it is one of the better systems that we have. When it was first introduced, everyone loved it. I don't like people have hated it now because what they see is there is an inequality in it where it can pit basically the number 1 and the number 2 teams together for like 3-0 matches, but it puts like the 2 lesser teams together for 3-0 matches. That shouldn't be right. We should make sure that if you are a 2-0 team, the highest ranked 2-0 team should play the lowest ranked 2-0 team. That's how it should work. And I think that that's inherently the problem. I enjoy it in a way that, like, yes, if you provide an upset, you deserve to get a little bit of credit here. Like, you should. And when we look at, but what I think the biggest problem that we have is the complaining about the initial rankings, the initial seedings that come in, right? Like in Challenger stage, right now, FaZe Clan is ranked below Fluxo. FaZe Clan is the lowest rank. Yeah, why is that? Because they were the last one to qualify because they sucked. Because the seeding is bad because it's tournament success seeding. It's based off of how well did you perform, and it's spelled out by Valve, and it makes sense. If you perform well in a qualifier event, you should get a better seeding. You should. If you perform well at the qualifier, you should earn that. What's then the point of ever like qualifying well or finishing top of the group? There is no reward. That to me doesn't make much sense. If you are successful, you should be rewarded. Yeah. And if you go ahead after the fact and you change up the seating, it destroys the point of that. So I can see the flaws, and I think it goes back to making sure the Buchholz system, which isn't perfect, and does make it where you have Bait versus Fnatic for the thing. And what was the other matchup? It was like Navi.
FaZe Navi. It
was FaZe Navi. Right. So when you have FaZe Navi and you have Bait Fnatic, that doesn't make sense to me. Right. Yeah. That needs to be that kind of stuff we should try and figure out. And maybe we can just manually adjust shit like that. But like there was for 1-1 matches, I'm okay with it being a little weird. Yeah. But with that 3-0s, that's
there was also the problem with how Into the Breach got their legend spot. Like there was 3 teams
that one
were.
I don't.
I still don't fully understand it. Like I was in the UK CS:GO Discord, and then Daffet was like, "Oh, we were talking to them. Into the Breach are now going to Legends, and the other 2 teams have to play each other." And everyone's like, "Yay!" And I was like, "Wait, why?" I was like, "I still don't get it."
The fact that Bad News Eagles, Into the Breach, Fnatic, and 9 are Legends is insane to me.
9 were fucking sick.
9 were pretty good, but also 9 did they have an insane tournament?
Hades had an insane tournament.
Right. So again, it goes back to, yes, they should be rewarded. And when I look at it right now, I'm like, that's insane. I don't know if that's totally worth it. But when you look at then the Challenger stage, you have NIP, OG, ENCE, Mouse, Liquid, FaZe, Complexity, Pain, like G2. Some of those teams aren't going through to the Legend stage. Into the Breach is going to get their shit kicked in. And it's just going to be a weird one. It's going to be weird. We know this.
I also think that the thing is that's been difficult when it comes to seeding and games at the moment is a lot of top teams are just not at the level they should be. Like the way that I put it, I know the seeding, there was an issue with it. And now that we've kind of gone through it, like FaZe Navi, obviously in that first 2-0 game, that's a difficult game for FaZe to be in. Right. But FaZe, as supposedly the best team in the world that are coming off a Grand Slam victory and would be hoping that a lot of people would have them as a contender for this major. They have to fucking beat Bad News Eagles in a best of 3.
I agree with you.
We let a lot of the top teams off the hook and just said, seeding. But there has to be a bit of accountability that...
Yes.
There's been a lot of talk about the level of Counter-Strike at the moment. It's the first time in a while that we haven't had an out-and-out top team that we know that this team's going to be this team. it feels like anyone can beat anyone at the moment,
yes.
which is an issue.
Gone are the days of the 2019 Liquid or the Astralis or where Navi was the top one for so long, or FaZe was in their run back in 2022, post Antwerp, right? Like, everyone can beat anyone. And I made that stupid fucking tweet that was just like, there's no thing as an upset anymore if a top 15 team plays a top 15 team. Yeah. There is no upset. You could be number 15 and you could beat the number 2. That's not an upset. It's just not. It's any team can beat everyone. Everyone's so close together now in terms of quality and ability to do it. And it really can just come down to were the maps? Did the maps go your way? Are you just better done at the maps? Did you have better mind games? Were you better prepared? And that's all it comes down to. It doesn't come down like a team could be less skilled. So it's gonna be weird. And I mean, we look at this, and I mean, I look at the top. Like G2, Ninjas, OG, Ents, 4, Mouse 5, Liquid 6, Complexity 7, FaZe 8. Like Pain, maybe Pain probably gets it, but like those are probably going to be the 8 teams that go through.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a few big teams not make it through, which is it's just gonna be fucking Rio all over again.
All right. Let's save our more early major predictions for later. IEM Rio going on right now. This is going to be a long show because we had so much to talk about. IEM Rio so long. First up is Furia. They're cooking. They're doing it. They like Gehi made the statement. They are doing a better, different style. They did make radical changes in game, and immediately Machine and Sponge said it on the broadcast. They're like, it's controlled. It's a controlled T side. They are being much more methodical. They know how to play. And I think that's why they looked kind of weird in the beginning of their RMR, and especially against EG. Because against EG, they had no fucking clue what they were going to do. And now I think that we all know what they're doing. So...
And with that control coming in, if you can keep Queserado at the level that he's going with, because Queserado is that motherfucker at the moment. He is that guy. Because like we've had like the top players of the last few years, it's been consistently Shiro, Simple, Zywoo, Oppers. And then when you get someone like Nico or you get someone like Queserado that's a rifler doing this, it's insane what level they can show. So if Queserado can keep up that form and they can, like you said, keep that control, I think Furia can actually be a scary team because they have looked a bit lost this season. It's starting off with Pro League, they just starting off with Katowice, they didn't make it out.
Right,
they didn't make it out of the play-in.
Which again, and it goes back to the funniest thing that happened in the offseason. Furia could have made it if they just played one of the Cash Cups. They would have gotten more points than Cloud9, and they would have been able to make it. And that was the whole reason that Complexity were able to make it, and Complexity made their top 8 run. It all just is fucking hilarious, but they could have done it. And I remember tweeting about it, and I remember people were like, well, why didn't they do it? Did they just not know? They probably didn't, but then they bombed out.
Yeah. Fury are playing as we speak, I believe. They're playing Cloud9. They've just kicked off.
Did it just kick off? Oh, game was scheduled for 6, I think.
Yeah,
are we on a rolling? We might be on a rolling schedule.
I think it's rolling schedule for the group stages, and then playoffs will be back to fixed schedule. But it's 3-2 on the T side to Cloud9 on Inferno. The Vito's Inferno, Vertigo, Ancient.
Furia picked it. But isn't Furia a decent Vertigo team?
Yeah, but Cloud9 are like the best Vertigo team in the world.
Yeah, but like I don't know, man. I could see this happening. I like this. Hell yeah. I would. I don't know. I'm gonna give this picks to Furia here. I think Furia win this 2-1.
Cloud9's record on Vertigo in the last 3 months is 14 wins, 3 losses.
My God. Either way, so Furia, obviously, new look Furia, so far looking good. This is great momentum for them heading into the major. This is important for them. They look to have genuinely bounced back a little bit, and I'm excited to see what they can do. Yeah. South America, elsewhere, you can't talk shit to me anymore. I want all the Brazilians they owe me an apology for all the shit they talk to me about North America. I want it in letters. I want fucking postcards. from Brazil saying how sorry you are. They went out dead last.
All three of them.
Come on. You
Yeah.
can't, come on. Imperial, I actually can get. They were totally off. They looked bad at the RMR. Fine. MIBR, we had them going to the major. They beat Complexity to get there. Complexity would not have gone out last. I can guarantee you that much.
Yeah.
So that's my rant on that one. That's my fast rant.
For instead of the show match at the major, we should just lock you, Nell, and Hockey in a room and see who has the worst team. I think Hockey wins that fight, realistically. It'd be funny to watch.
Nell is about my height, so
Yeah.
and Hockey's got at least 7 inches on both of us. It's gonna be great. We're gonna do a whole pick when we're in Paris together. It'll be phenomenal.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with 9Z either, by the way. They were the team that I always get excited watching at RMRs, then they weren't at this RMR because they didn't qualify. And now going out dead last, they lost to Fnatic, who Fnatic are not that great. Fnatic went 3-0, but they skimmed by Viperio, and they played Bait, who didn't even go through in the end in the 3-0 game. So I feel like 9Z could have, they won a map, but they got curb stomped and overpass.
So the problem that I think with 9Z was that they traded NQZ and Try, which was the wrong move. NQZ is nuts. But now NQZ is on 0-0 Nation doing fuck all, and Try is not exactly helping out 9Z. It's just, it was I think I said it. I was I don't get the move. It doesn't help either team. Unless both of them were just you know what? I'm tired of speaking the other language. I just want to go back.
Yeah.
Fine. But it genuinely both teams don't look good. 9Z missing out was huge. And now at IEM Rio, they don't make anything. It's sad to see. And I'm upset. So
it's a real concern for the scene at the moment, because it's both North America and South America have a clear-cut number one team that has the most experience. They're internationally traveled. That's Liquid and Furia. Yeah. And they have that second team that's been coming through, aren't as internationally experienced as the other teams, both Pain and Complexity. And then below that, it's whoever. It's one team shows up this tournament, one team shows up another tournament. Less so in North America now that we don't have an Evil Geniuses or a Nouns kind of doing as much, but it's still
Nouns is in a better spot right now than Evil Geniuses, which is.
But cool. They don't go to the international stuff. But even if they did go to the international stuff, you'd hope that they wouldn't finish last the same way that an MIB or an Imperial are doing now. So,
well, Complexity's going to the international stuff. They're making their way to Australia pretty soon. They've got Melbourne cooking up. When is that? When is
this week? I think.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
God, there's just so much stuff happening. Is it really this week? They are, I guess they're almost on their way to. No, it's the 28th to the 30th. Oh God,
next week. Okay,
so it's next week, and then they're gonna go all the way from there to the major. So they're gonna fly out the first. They've got to go all the way to Paris on the second, and it gives them a few days to prep. They got a few days, hopefully.
The thing about Melbourne for me with Complexity, I said it when they got the invite and they took it, is using that tournament the way that Fury are hopefully going to use Rio now, is if you have a really strong finish over there. Complexity, realistically, when you look at the teams that are going to Melbourne, absolutely should be winning it.
Yes.
Furia on their roll.
Bad News Eagles is there. Major Legends. I don't know, man. Complexity or not major.
It's a good game. But Complexity realistically should be beating Bad News Eagles. They compete at a higher level more often than Bad News Eagles do. They get to go to Pro League, they get to go to Katowice. Bad News Eagles absolutely stomp CCT and shit like that. But Complexity should have the experience on them in terms of having more competition at that level. Complexity should be using Melbourne as a launching pad for the major, building that momentum in, because they haven't had a big they've had playoff appearances, but they haven't had a big result. They haven't had a finals appearance at a tournament that people recognize. Yeah. So I think using Melbourne as a launching pad is going to be huge for them. So
I fully agree, and I think that launch pad has to be good. I think it has to be a momentum
driver
for this team. But what's good about this team is that they seem locked in. They seem more locked in than Liquid do at the moment. They have high confidence. They know what the problems are. They're constantly trying to work on these problems. I don't think that this is a team that's in a crisis of confidence. I don't think it's a team that's in a crisis of strategy. I think it's a team that needs to be able to execute at the highest level, and they have to be primed for it. Being able to execute at the highest level means that they're going to need to be like extremely ready for Melbourne. And that will then give them the confidence and reassurance of like when they're down 13-7 on a map and it's their T side, they'll have the confidence to go, okay, we know we can win this. We just have to do it. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's what's going to be able to come out with them well.
Yeah.
Okay. And then phase out versus Vitality, but like Twist, we kind of covered it again. Like Twist,
yeah.
Like, the team is in a rut, and yeah.
A quick nod to Spinks being that fucking guy. He had like 70 kills in 2 maps.
It was insane. Spinks had like one of his best games that he's had since putting on a Vitality shirt, which like he's needed. He had that like mainstay. He was where the main stage.
Ents.
Yeah, Ents. When
we had an interview with him at Antwerp.
Yes, we did, and he was fucking insane. And so hopefully, I mean, he can come back there. All right, let's get to the NA stuff.
A lot of shit.
Yeah. So, when did EG White get cut? When was that?
Knows, bro.
When was that?
Did they announce it? Did they announce it?
No, we did it in the interview. We did it. No, we did cover this.
But no, but did they interview? Did they announce it themselves? Did they put up a tweet saying thank you, EG White, or was it just our interview and they were just gone?
No, it was our interview.
So they didn't even acknowledge it. It was just
no. They did acknowledge it in our
through us. They didn't do it through their own channels.
They wanted to do it was they wanted us to be announcing this information that EG White is gone. That's how they were going to do it. I think they still should have done a social post.
Yes, absolutely.
Might have been good.
He was there for like a year.
They won Philadelphia 17, brought home a trophy with the first CS team.
Fucking killed Party Astronauts. I know they're back.
PA is back.
They killed PA for a year.
But it doesn't matter because PA is back, and the first fucking open qualifier that they get into, they win their shot to goddamn Katowice for ESL Challenger over Nouns. Come on. How cool is that? It's one of the coolest things, storybook things that you can see. The org finally gets out. They get out of Evil Geniuses, and they're going to the first event in forever. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Do we want to touch on the EG thing with
let's talk about the party astronauts, and then let's circle back to EG with Refresh. So they picked up Sexy, and they picked up Chop. Chop, also formerly of Evil Geniuses. So it's a 4 times Evil Geniuses team plus Dan Wu, who's always a wild child. He's had his fair share of controversy. And it's actually, I think, close to the 2-year anniversary of Danny getting kicked out of Strife mid-game.
That was a year ago, wasn't it?
Was it a year ago?
I think that was a year ago because I was in Netherlands, and I was in Netherlands a year ago.
Was it? Okay. I will find it. I will find the
because it was Dust 2 as well. So
yes, it was. Okay, and I've only So it was probably around this time last year because I remember it was one of our first big stories, which was insane. So that was fun and interesting to see. So Dan Wu has been able to come back. He's now on Party Astronauts, who are. I can't wait to rank them super high in Dust 2's April rankings. I'm like amped out of my mind. I'm like putting them 5th. Like this is the team. This is the team, baby. They're going to do it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Danny collects team tags on HLTV like fucking Pokemon cards. He's had 16 teams since November 2019. Some of them were just like name changes, but it's still hilarious to see like if you go onto his page, he's not been with like one brand for that long. Party Astros, I'm really excited for. I was really disappointed the way that Evil Geniuses handled that Party Astros team when they were EG White, because they were one of the most exciting teams prior to signing with EG.
Right.
It seemed like they were going to be the big second team underneath the main team.
Yeah.
But I think EG got scared off by the age of some of the players, which is fucking stupid. Why do you sign them if you're scared off by the age? But nonetheless, now that they're back and doing stuff.
All marketing. So that they could go to more events.
Stupid, man.
So they would get invites to challenger events and show off brands.
And
it didn't work.
But they didn't fucking send them anywhere.
I know.
DJ had like
to be fair, I don't think they got invites.
But
you can't send the team if you don't get invites. Now, am I trying to defend the management of this team? No, I think that they've handled this very poorly. I'm pretty upset with how it's been handled, to be perfectly honest. However, I would like to say that I don't entirely think it's their fault for not being able to send them to events when they didn't get any event invitations. Now,
I
we
I
can
think
argue
it's
all
their
day about
fault.
why they don't get it, but like,
I think it's their fault for not promoting the players that were better than the ones that they promoted. So that's my argument. And I don't care about the
I
age. If you want a
will.
fucking competitive team that's in the US, Party Astronauts were far and away the best team that were unsigned. They were better than Carpe Diem at the time, even though Carpe Diem were younger. They were series away
I
against
fully agree
from
with
making the
you.
major.
I
So,
will fully agree with you. All right. And speaking
but
of
it's cool.
EG,
Yeah,
refresh. Not a stellar start to the campaign, losing out on the Katowice qualifiers in the second round to Without Warning, which is, to be fair, filled with former ECL team players, but that's just not good enough. It's just not good enough. What's weird is that it goes back to Cirque leaving. With Cirque, and everyone thought Cirque was the problem. Since Cirque has left, this team has kind of cratered. It's been a little insane. Like, they at least made the major. They at least, like, I think they won one. Did they go out 0-3? I thought they won one game at Rio, right? Like, but now since they've been doing all this, it's been weird. It's been weird. And I don't know what the answer is here. And I can tell you that I don't know if refresh is the answer.
he's not. Short answer,
So
he's not.
why do you think he's not the answer? And I want to have a genuine, healthy conversation on this because there's a lot of talk about evil geniuses, and I think a lot of hate towards evil geniuses for this signing. And I kind of want to I really want to do a deep dive on this. So can you like genuinely explain to me why you think he's not the person?
So Heroic got a lot better when they got rid of refresh. Like, not
That's
a lot.
not a good answer.
So the thing I'm saying about refresh is he's a European player that you're bringing in. He's not a marquee European player. You're just bringing him in kind of for the sake of being European, and like he's gonna have more experience. Like, he doesn't actually add firepower. Like, he doesn't add that much more firepower to take up a European spot. Like, I don't know. It was announced and I was just kind of like, meh. It's not a move that fills me with excitement. He's not that much of an upgrade over, like, he is an upgrade, but it's not an upgrade that fixes this team.
So I could agree with you that I don't think that refresh might be the answer to EG's problems. I hate that argument because I don't feel like you made a good argument there. Just like, he's not great, which, like, I agree. He isn't great. What EG have said that they brought him in for was for experience. They brought him in for the wealth of knowledge that he has of being on a top team, of being a leadership. They needed leadership quality.
He was
let's look at available players at the top level that might be leadership quality that can easily speak English and that can have no problems moving abroad and then also want to work with evil geniuses after they have the dreadful, like, media perception and public perception of them. What players legitimately do you think are going to walk into what they see as a burning fire on a river going over a waterfall? Like, I don't see many players out there that are going to say, and you saw it in comments when we posted the article, people were like, way to ruin your career. Like, it's not like this was very forgiving.
Yeah. So, like, the thing I'd say on the leadership aspect is Refresh's only experience being a leader was a couple of months in Sprout. His last interview was Katowice, where he said, IGLing's been really tough for me. And then they booted him for not being a good IGL.
But he doesn't have to be an IGL.
But he's not. I know he's not being an IGL, but clearly the leadership wasn't there if he's getting booted.
That's not fair. Azur was not a great IGL.
That's the fucking dumbest move I've seen ever. And I've watched Evil Geniuses do a lot of fucking dumb shit. What was that move?
Sprout should have gotten more. Sprout should get more shit.
Sprout or European EG. Sprout or European EG. What are you doing? You held Stair to ransom. Fucking, you could have got the bag for Astralis for him. Made Astralis at least somewhat competent. Because they're a fucking tier 2 team as well.
Yeah. So I want to defend the refresh signing because here's the criticism that I've seen. And actually, the criticism that you are saying, I have zero problem with. And I want to make that very clear. I have zero problem with looking at Refresh as an entity and saying Evil Geniuses should have done more. If they want leadership, they should have gotten more leadership. If the perception is he might not have been that good at Sprout in terms of these qualities, is that something that Evil Genius is searching for? Should they have aimed higher? Now, if at the end of the day, this was literally the best option because they exhausted everything else, then that's fine. But the criticism I've seen has been, oh, well, they're abandoning the Blueprint project. But all I've seen for the last 3 months has been kick Wiz, kick Hexed. That is all I've seen about the CG team. Now, is there criticism about Breeze and should they remove Breeze? Probably at this point.
He should have been the first.
He is a top level pro that has not performed to the level that they need. His form has not been there. He's wildly inconsistent.
Definitely earning a bag as well.
I wouldn't say that he is. The contract renegotiation
was September last year, wasn't it?
Was September last year, and his form wasn't exactly there. So I don't think that, we're looking at a situation here where we go ahead and say, is this, is he getting it back? Maybe not. I would say EG probably looked at it and go, you don't have a lot of other options there, buddy. Yeah. Who's picking you up? You got to go to EU or you got to somehow go to some lesser NA team. So I'm not going to go ahead and sit here and be like Breeze is on $30K a month.
Yeah, it's definitely not anymore,
that's definitely not what's happening here. Those contracts, when they signed them back in 2019, when they were the number one, top 5 team in the world, winning IEM New York, those days are gone, and everyone knows it. So when we look at the situation now, I think we have to look at Breeze and we have to say, should it have been Breeze? If they wanted to still work with the Blueprint project and still say maybe these players are better, sure. But what I think the real answer here is they needed to come up with leadership. The Blueprint wasn't working. It's only been 6 or 9 months. Hexed and Wiz might clearly not be available at tier 1 level. It was pretty clear after a bit that Hexed was not ready. Hexed is going back down to EG Black. He's getting more time there. They say that he's probably going to come back.
He's been doing well with EG Black because
they qualified for Melbourne.
Yeah, he's not even just that they've been qualifying, is that he's been starring in it.
Yes.
So yeah, because I've had this conversation with some other people that don't watch NACS. They were like, "Well, Hex is just a bad player." I'm like, "No, but he did the classic thing that everyone does when they make the jump to tier 1. He was absolutely cooking down in tier 2 or NA tier 1 or whatever.
Yeah,
ECL level, and then he made the jump, and it's
the jump is the gap big.
Is massive now.
And they're he was kicking the shit out of Mythic, and then they're like, "Excuse me, please play fucking Navi." What do you expect? Fucking simple is not Flom. It's very different. And I think people are not charitable because EG has a bad reputation for all these answers. I think there's a lot of people and I'm going to get hate for this clip. I think people in EU like to hate on America a lot more specifically because it's just something that they do. It's about a rivalry. I don't know if they genuinely feel that way or they just do it because it's funny to hate on America. That's fine. I think it's funny to hate on the French. We all have our kinks. That's just what it is. But I think that people aren't being as charitable to Evil Geniuses and some of the players because of that context.
Yeah. I think also EG didn't do themselves any favor with the way that they handle things on a front-facing, because it's the same with Astralis. People give Astralis shit all the time. They're also awful when it comes to the front-facing.
Their PR was shit.
Yeah,
their PR was shit. And what I do know, and people can see that it's changing with the way that they've started to communicate, at least with us, and they're trying to do things. They're reinventing their PR team. They had former people that came from a corporate side. Those people are gone, and it's a new PR team. And I've been obviously in communication with them. We coordinated the Valens interview. We've coordinated stuff about the Refresh signing. This PR team is good and they want to do better. And I can't speak for anything else internally at EG. I just know that in terms of PR, they're working on it. Now, I say this all after EG also had a massive PR tweet fumble when it did that thing for the Valorant. Did you see that?
No, I think I saw it, but I didn't take much notice of it.
They did something that was super awful of we want to they hyphened it sounded like it was a draft.
ChatGPT.
like a draft tweet that they hadn't edited, and they just posted it and scheduled it out. And I looked at that and I was like, you guys. And I was like, no one's in the office. I bet you no one is able to log in right now. I'm like, someone better be driving to the office and deleting this tweet. Like, you can't just keep this up. Like, it's not good. So yeah, that. So I say all that with that also happening. But yeah, I don't know. I think that there's more that we can see coming out of EG. And I think that the criticism that is not just Refresh wasn't the person they could have gotten, or they should have pursued someone more or better, or like no one's able to give me a name. No one has genuinely given me a name of someone in a better position that EG could have realistically got when considering moving to NA, going to the dumpster fire that is EG, and has a reasonable buyout that EG could, one, afford in the current economy, which we know that they are not really doing stuff because they're cutting the EGY team and they're like doing a whole lot of other stuff. Like, I don't think that in the esports winter they want to pay $100,000 for a new player. So,
is this a dumb take? And you can flat out tell me if it's a dumb take. Woxic?
That was a dog shit take. That was a horrendous take. That was the worst take I've ever heard.
You want leadership. He was a leader in Eternal Fire. He also helped fix your AWPing problem, and I think he adds more than Refresh. I think because he was good.
A reason he got kicked out of C9. I don't. I don't see this being. I don't see that being the answer.
He told us that he was willing to move to NA because that was the thing that he told Lucas. He said, "I'm willing for offers for EU and NA." You don't say that if you're not willing to move or at least talk to them. Because the whole point of the thing that went wrong with Cloud9.
They did talk to Mantu though. Here's the thing: they talked to Mantu, and they didn't choose Mantu.
So then that's stupid. Mantu adds way more than Refresh does.
Okay, hold on. So if you're going to say no to Mantu, why has Mantu still not been picked up by any other team?
Yeah, there must be
right? Like, I could understand it if he's been like away and he was like, I've talked to EG, and that was months ago. He's still not picked up.
Yeah.
Sure, at first, if the news broke and it was like EG chose Wiz over Mantu, I'd be like, what are they doing? Like, it's got to be a financial reason. But if no one's still picked him up, my answer to that is there's something else. Like, there is something else. There's got to be. And that's wild speculation. But like,
to quickly go back to the Woxic thing. The Woxic thing, like you said, Cloud9 didn't work. Cloud9 also did happen during a pandemic where he was forced to stay in Turkey. So,
I mean,
at least if they pursued him, because like if you look at Woxic's stats for his time in Eternal Fire, he still is good. Like, he's not playing on the same level, but
I don't know.
If you look at Refresh's stats for the last few months, it's fucking
they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad. All right, let's move on from EG. We can talk about this forever. It's been an hour. CLG.
We can make a movie out of this.
CLG Red released. NA Impact is looking horrible. It's looking like it's generally one of the worst regions of Impact. The NA scene had Dignitas. It had CLG. Now it has none of them. You have EG, Detonate, and Sparks. Like, Sparks is Detonate. And I mean, no disrespect to Detonate. They are in no realm anywhere close to what CLG was or what EG is. Not even close. It's a bedroom organization. And, like, who's coming in? Who's saving Impact in North America? I don't think there's a lot of teams here. It's not looking great, Liam. It's looking really bad, actually.
Come on, Liege. Give a little nudge. Get your girl. Liquid.
Honestly, though, a team Liquid, female team Liquid, that would do. I think that would actually be great for their marketing.
Yeah,
I think that would actually be really great. I actually don't hate that.
And like, it's probably not that. Like, obviously, the Brits that you run is that CLG Red are going to be that team that are going to qualify to a lot of the Impact events. So you're going to be sending them a lot more places than other typical teams. But
you're also not paying for it. Organizers pay for the flights. So you have no.
Yeah, but I mean,
cost.
you're gonna be putting them up for like boot camps. Like they're gonna be
Yeah.
competing. They're gonna be competing at that level where it's not the same as, say, I don't know, fucking one of the other teams that aren't as not as driven, but as like competitive as the CLG Red. The CLG Red want to be the top team in the world.
Yes.
So that is going to be a bit like, but at the end of the day, it probably isn't as like straining financially.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. We'll see. The other problem is that they do have a number of players that are on visas that CLG was financing.
Yeah, K-Day and Mads, isn't it?
So you've got to figure those out pretty fast. If Liquid's coming in to be a sponsor, they have to sponsor those visas. So that's one tough. Lowest +1 minus Pesa minus IDK. I think it's a long time overdue for lowest +1 to be making a move. They've needed to make a move. They are not even one of the best teams in North America as a Brazilian team. It's not great to continue to have that as a Brazilian team. Like, if you're going to be in as a Brazilian team in North America, you need to be one of the better teams in North America, like Pain. You need to, like Furia, and one have just stagnated. And it's unclear what the reason is. I don't know enough about this team and how that team works inside to say that Pesa and IDK are the problem. I know that Pace is just nice to me whenever I see him at events, and he does interviews with me, and he has great English. So, like, I'll be sad to not see him at a future Fragadelphia. But yeah, that's I mean, that's all I've got. I think Maluki is like, I'm going to retire for this team, and you have TRK, who's always been a staple. Like,
Mulbs.
I don't know, Mulbs, and Mulbs is great. Mulbs. Like, I don't like those three. I guess if you have Maluki being the IGL, and you don't want to be getting another IGL, it works. But I don't know who they're going to get. And to your point earlier, a Brazilian shuffle might be in the cards.
Yeah, it just makes me really sad. So Last +1 are the team that I really want to work. Like, Maluk is the person that I point to when I make my point about different regions needing that one player that brings through the younger talent. Like, for years in NA, it was Sean Gears. As much as people might not like him, Hunden did it for Denmark.
He did. He did
Blade,
do it a lot.
Blade and Zeus in the CIS region, bringing through a lot of young talent with teams like Navi and Flipside. Maluk is that guy, seemingly, for Brazil, because despite Fallen being the godfather, Fallen for years was, this is my 5 with the typical fur.
Yes. He did do a lot in terms of supporting the next scene. He just wasn't exactly bringing in new players. He found the team he liked and succeeded with them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same with Furia now. Like, they have drop, and they've tried bringing through players like Honda and stuff, but it's not like Irish is kind of taking them under his wing and resetting up a system around them. So that's the reason for me that I wanted Lost +1 to really work. And you can see Maluk doing it with younger players like Malbs, but it's just falling apart. They've said one of the players they're bringing in, like, temporarily, isn't it? I've never heard of them, but
who?
They had said it, that one of them is replacing.
They did, and I, for the life of me, forget who.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's a younger player that isn't as well known. So if Maluk is sticking around, hopefully he can do something with them.
It is going to be. We wrote the article. It is. Never mind. I guess. Oh, Vinabeast.
Yeah,
Vinabeast.
Never.
Yeah, I haven't heard of him before. So. Predictions. Oh no, the last one thing. JDM.
What the fuck?
He's back, baby. Let's do it.
JDM TG.
So the whole funny part about it was we had that article. Arnie wrote that article months ago, literally months ago, and I was just
could have been last year, was it?
No,
start of this year. Then
it was start of the year, because I remember I was like, we need Fluff content, and he was like, yeah, he did the nothing one, and then he did the JDM one. I'm excited for what his next one is going to be. And
Sean Gears, bring him back.
I say Sean Gears wouldn't be a bad shout. What happened to Sean Gears? Remember Sean Gears? It's a good one. So he posted it, and JDM like quote retweets it, and then we see JDM like he's like CS2 or whatever, and then it was clearly like he's doing a stream thing. He's trying to game the algorithm, which is now likes threads. You put out single tweets, everyone retweets it, then the link comes up and you get more engagement that way. It's showed to you more often. And so he went, and I just asked the dumb question of like, are you coming back because you saw the article? He answers yes. And then I go DM him and I'm like, okay, but like, are you actually coming back? And he's like, yeah, I'm considering it. Like, he has a lot of work to do, but he's considering it. So JDM potentially coming back. How do we feel? I don't think he's going to return to like complexity, but I feel like he could do the nifty route and play an ECL. And I think that he could not be half bad.
Yeah. So I think, like you said, he quote retweeted the article. The article got a lot of love. And you said to him jokingly, "Are you coming back because of the article?" He said yes. I hope he's coming back to compete, and he's not just coming back because he's like, "Oh, I got a lot of love. I can come back, show my face. People go crazy for it." Like, come back for the right reasons. Because if you're a player at that level where everyone recognizes your name from years ago, we know that you can be a serious talent. It's the same with Nifty. If Nifty came back just because he got a lot of hype and people were saying like, "Oh, we loved you when you were playing in fucking Renegades or whatever," or "We loved JDM because he did that 1v5, you lounge, haha." Come back for the right reasons. Like, come back to compete and come back with, like Nifty, with a younger team. Take some of them under your wing. You've competed internationally, and build up players around it, because that's what the scene is sorely missing at the moment, is leadership figures who have done it. Like,
yeah.
So
no, I think that's fair. I think maybe we'll see that. I would hope that we can like that. I would like that if it happens. All right, early major preview. Let's get to it. Because podcast has already gone pretty long. I mean,
it's the longest one we've had, I think. Yeah.
Is it really hour 15?
Hour 15, and we still have
we got a few things to do. It's just two more sections. It's not too hard, and then we'll just say goodbyes and just talk shit. Okay, so as we already know, the major matchups are set because of Valve saying if you finish in these positions in things, these are what's going to happen. Liquid, like, I actually don't think there could have been a better matchup, genuinely, for North America. It blows my mind, and I'm not trying to be like, I don't know. I think it's like some of the best that I could have ever seen. Liquid,
it's what you would have wanted if you were predicting it.
Yes, Liquid versus fucking Apex. Like, I'm sorry,
they fucking lose that somehow, don't they?
They do, but it's a little funny because Shocks played for both of them.
Yeah,
and
it's the Shocks derby.
And I'm not joking when I say this, and I feel bad saying it. Shocks leaving has literally elevated both teams.
Oh, massively.
Which is the most hilarious thing. I kind of want to call this the Shocksless Derby. Like, it's phenomenal. What just happened there?
My mouse fell off my desk. That's interesting.
We'll pick it up.
Yeah, I know.
What are you? Where are you going?
It fell off my desk.
What do you mean? It's behind your desk?
No, it fell off my desk. It's the mouse bungee. Hold on.
What is going on? This is a real company.
This is what happens when we go past an hour.
This is a real company. You have to. Where did your mouse go? Did you fucking?
I fell behind the desk.
Well, why is it that close to how big is your desk?
It's tiny.
We'll talk about it.
Exactly. This is content. That's what you fucking want.
Is it content?
Yeah.
You're ridiculous here. You are always ridiculous. Okay. So
the thing with Apex that I wanted to touch on was the fact that when you look at that team on paper, it's insane that it doesn't work. Or like, it's insane that it hasn't been working to the level it should be. Sticko, in terms of experience, in terms of like what he brings to a team, everyone that's played with him always says like he's the glue guy. Like, he's really, really good at taking people under his wing. There's a reason that he was over like the CSPPA. He was that figure that everyone in the scene was looking to. Jacob was the most solid part of Renegades for a long time. I mean, after like JKS, I guess. And then when Extremum was their team, he was the best part of it. Knock, the only reason he got cut is because of fucking Device. Like, if it wasn't for Device, he'd still probably be at NIP right now. JL is fucking sick.
I enjoy JL. JL is pretty cool.
And Kicksan's been IGLing and got them to a major, so like I wouldn't write this team off in a best of one.
Against Liquid, I would. I'd be more than happy to write them off. I genuinely would be more than happy to write them off. I do not see them beating Liquid. Liquid could be.
I can think they could push them close.
They'll push.
I don't think it'll be a 0-0 nation blowout.
It'll be 16-10. It'll be 16-10 in favor of Liquid.
Okay.
I don't care. I don't care. It's Liquid. Liquid will close this out. They should close this out.
But it's not the same Liquid we've seen. Like, it's not strong Liquid. Like, if it's strong,
2-week boot camp Liquid.
What happened at Pro League? They did all this preparation. You kind of said we fucked it up. We didn't fucking prepare right.
Because they boot camped in the US. They're boot camping in Utrecht.
Okay. Well, I just want to know that they're doing it right. Like, proper preparation.
Yes, they are doing it the right way. They're leaving their families for 2 weeks. They're doing it in Utrecht. They're doing the boot camp right. Like, I don't think this is the perfect opportunity for them not to be slow start Liquid. This is the perfect opportunity for them to be lightning Liquid. They start off like lightning. They go fast. They win. They get the 1-0 and they progress on. And then you could probably see them playing like fucking. They will probably have to then. God, I don't know. In a 1-0 match, it depends. But like, I could see them having to play Forza. Or yeah, I think they might have to play like Forza or something. Because here's the other thing: I can see Complexity beating Gamer Legion.
That one I'm confident.
Who's Gamer Legion again? Gamer Legion is IEM,
Sui,
Isaac, Acor, Sui, Chaos. They're gamers. They're fine.
They were the team that stopped G2 from qualifying at the previous major. And if memory serves me correct, they didn't make it out of challengers?
I don't think that they did.
Yeah, so like, I don't know, they show up around the major cycle, but I'm not fully confident in them. Yeah, and this is also the case, is it's an early major prediction. Complexity have a tournament between now and the major. So we're going to learn a lot about Complexity from Melbourne.
If Complexity win this, they're going to probably beat Gamer Legion like 16-8. Like, I can just totally see it.
I can get.
And then Pain Fluxo, that is Pain all day. That is so easily Pain. It's not even funny. This is going to be, it's a stomp. And we could see North America, because Pain is North American, despite what Brazilians want to say. They are a North American-based team. God damn it. They will go through. They will win this shit. And we could see three. I legitimately think for the first time ever, I could see all three teams like starting out 1-0.
Strong starts, yeah.
Now, it's going to be bad. I mean, there is a world then where we could see like Pain versus Fluxo. Pain versus Complexity. Because I don't think, the Mongols versus G2. I don't think the Mongols win.
No.
I don't see Fluxo beating Pain, and FaZe Clan beats Monty, which then means they're in the 1-0.
I don't know.
No. Like I said, it would be Pain FaZe. It would be Pain FaZe.
Yeah, I know.
No, that sucks.
Monty, have you seen this Boros kid? The man from Endpoint?
Yes.
He is a fucking animal, and if he takes over in a best of one,
he's pretty good.
And it's backs against the wall phase at the moment. It's a phase that starts off slow. So
it is a phase that starts off slow. The fact that we're seeing Nip versus Mouse and OG versus Ents, I'm going to throw Ents in there. Okay. So just if we think that the games go how they go, right? And this is the two early predictions that we can see here. FaZe beats Monty. Pain beats Fluxo. G2 beats Mongols. Complexity over Gamer Legion. Forza over Greyhound. Liquid over Apex. Nip over Mouse. Ents over OG. Do you agree with that?
Mouse over Nip.
Mouse over Nip? Okay.
And what was the last one?
Ents over OG.
Yeah.
Okay. Then it is Pain versus FaZe. G2 versus Complexity. And then it's Forza versus Liquid, which Liquid could go 2-0. That's legitimate.
Yeah, I can.
And then you would have Ents Mouse, which actually that's a heater. That's actually real nice. I'm gonna give it to Mouse. Monty versus Fluxo. Give it to Monty. Gamer Legion, the Mongols. Give that to Mongols? I'm gonna give that to Mongols.
Who are the teams? Gamer Legion or Mongols?
Gamer League and Mongols.
Yeah, Mongols.
And then Apex Greyhound, Apex. And then Nip OG. I'm gonna give that to Nip. So then here are your 2-0s. If all of that happens. Actually, fine. If we want to do OG. Oh god. Okay. So with Nip winning, it's G2 versus FaZe, Mouse versus Liquid for the 2-0. That fucking blows, dude. It fucking blows. It just sucks. It just sucks. Those are hard. But if OG win, then it is G2 Mao's Liquid FaZe.
You take Mao's over G2 FaZe. Would you?
I would have Nip win.
But that's the fucking problem with CS at the moment. There's no fucking favorites anymore.
I know.
This pick'em's is gonna fucking suck.
The pick'em's gonna fucking suck. But at the end of the day, then if all of those still go through, Pain play Complexity in the 1-1s.
Yes, it's only 1-1. Like it's gonna suck that one of them's gonna to 1-2, but
yeah.
It could be worse. It could be an elimination game. Because how many times have we seen that where it's two teams that we really want to go through in an elimination game or some shit? So
I know. But we could, there's a lot that can go through there. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, this I feel like legitimately could be a 3-0 for Liquid. And in all honesty, in current form, I'd rather have Liquid play FaZe. I would really rather have Liquid play FaZe. It's kind of crazy rather than Mouse. So there you go. So those are kind of the two, and I don't want to get into the hairiness of the later rounds.
Yeah, because it is pretty early. We still have a lot of CS to play until that point, which is.
But those are the two early major predictions, which I think are. Do you think I don't think it's too crazy. I don't know if Complexity go through, and I don't know if Pain go through, which is not good. And we actually need two of them to go through.
Pain, I have a lot of faith in. Complexity, I'm reserving my judgment until I see Melbourne.
Yeah.
I'm putting a lot on Melbourne, so.
Yeah, me too. But the problem is, I think legitimately, in order for Americas to get more spots, I have to also like figure it out and do the math here, but I think we need two Americas teams to go through the challengers. That's producer Martin saying that's correct. So in order to gain a spot back, we need to have them go through.
Okay.
I don't think we lose a spot. I think we lose a spot if none of them go through. That's the problem.
Yeah, see, this is where you would have wanted Pain to win that best of 3 against Furia, because Furia you'd have more faith in to go through challengers, I feel like.
I do. I would, especially in current form. However, I'd rather Pain have won. Furia would go through. I think I also said that too. Like it just would, like, you could see it happen. But then you'd have Furia, Liquid, and Complexity. Like, actually, Furia, Liquid, and Complexity and Challengers would be.
You'd have faith in those three to go through.
I'd have faith in two, because I just know that, by God, you're gonna have like Complexity and Furia play in like a 2-2 qualifier match with like Liquid already, or like you're gonna have one already qualified, and they're gonna have to face the American team to qualify. And I'm gonna be like, I'm set. I don't care who wins. Everything is gravy to me. Everything's good.
I can't wait to come back and rewatch this podcast when Pain go 3-0 and Complexity and Liquid don't make it through.
Dude, if Pain beat FaZe, it would be. Here's the world. There's a legitimate world where Pain beats FaZe, and then depending on matchups, it would be Pain G2 and Mao's Liquid, and I think Pain could go through because no one has played Pain. They don't know Pain. And
I think they're starting to figure it out, though.
I don't know. I still think Pain is a very underrated quality in the international scene. I do not think that European teams are prepared for them. I do not think that they're prepared for Big Uzera. I really
let skulls off the leash, man.
Let them cook.
Literally.
So we'll see how that goes. Any other thoughts about the major? Any wild prediction? What's your wild too early prediction?
Is it too based? FaZe not making it through challengers.
That's that. I mean, they almost did it. They didn't last time. They went. Did they go with it?
No, they made it to Legends, and then because they were straight into Legends.
Yes.
And then they didn't win a game.
Yeah, they did go
because they lost to B&E.
Yeah.
FaZe not making it through challengers could be the early one, because you've just seen them get knocked out of Rio. They've been fucking dodgy as fuck.
Yeah.
But it's also backs against the wall FaZe.
Backs against the wall FaZe.
Carrigan loves a good storyline. Carrigan loves a good storyline. I feel like last major, it's going to be a great storyline for FaZe.
They did have a tough opening round when they had to play Cloud9, then Vitality, then B&E. Like, that one's a tough one.
For what?
The Legend stage when they went 03. That is pretty tough. I will say the B&E
that was when they floated Vertigo.
Yeah,
why are you fucking floating?
That's the thing. Kerrigan is going to get a lifetime achievement award, and in that achievement award, someone's going to make a comment about how he floated Vertigo during the B&E game. He's going to win like another major at least in like Counter-Strike 2, but that is going to follow him for the rest of his life.
I think that Vertigo pick at the major is the most shocking Vertigo pick at the major, even though Astralis did what they did to Liquid back at Berlin. Because fucking, it's the stupidest thing ever. Like, defending major champions. Whatever. Moving on.
I'm also just looking at the Legend stage again, and I'm just like, wow, I can't believe that Liquid lost to Team Spirit 2-1.
Into the Breach are going to win a major, and Daffet's going to be insufferable.
All right. So major stickers, kind of the extra fluff here that we've seen. They're not doing. Valve came out with the email, and basically were like, "Hey teams, don't submit one if you're gonna try and do some shit that's like Paris themed. You have to keep it like your normal one that you use in events." What do you think about it? I mean, there's been so many creative team stickers. G2 did some French ones. Liquid did their like Brazilian, American, Canadian one. They've also had an Antwerp. Liquid had some different background designs. Like, do you think this is a loss? Do you think it doesn't matter? I'm curious.
So, like, I kind of get why they don't want to have Paris themed ones, because like, I think of the other tournaments, there wasn't really like Rio themed stickers. Like Brazilian teams weren't trying to throw some like the fucking Christ the Redeemer in their pictures, or like,
oh, true. Would have been cool though.
It would have been cool as shit.
And actually, that actually would have been really cool.
But so I kind of get that from a Valve perspective. If you're going to keep the continuity of we're not trying to draw folks to the area, it's just the major and the player themselves. We've seen like the Liquid one. You said Brazil, Canada, and US. I feel like that's still not written off because it's not Paris themed. It's just a team.
No. But it's not just Paris themed. It's like
it's teams across the board. It's not just Paris.
No. You cannot create any deviation of your team sticker from what you are submitting in events. So it means that like for OG, they get their Red Bull sticker. They get the Red Bull as the sponsor there because they submit that in every tournament. Like the email was pretty clear. It was like, don't submit random shit. Like, keep it normal, keep it level. It should be like what you want to do.
I see, like most things in life, stopping creativity just kind of takes away from it, and I'm never a fan of. Like, if you're discouraging creativity in any aspect of life, I feel like it's just a waste of time. Because what's the point of like the last few majors? The stickers have been very kind of similar. Like the two PGL ones, of course, they were going to be similar enough.
Yeah,
the Rio ones were a bit different, but I don't know. Like, what was the difference of me buying a simple sticker from Antwerp and simple sticker from Stockholm? Like, they look identical. So, I like a bit of something different. So, yeah, taking away the creativity, I'm not really a fan of. So,
yeah, I think it's a little lame, and I'm actually kind of upset, and I hope that they like, I don't know, can in CS2 maybe we get something different. Hell, maybe we get something more dynamic. We don't know what's going to happen.
What would your sticker be?
For my signature? Well, the good thing is for the signatures, there is no that same kind of level of like, don't do a Paris theme. That was not included. It was just about the teams. So for that, if I was just I don't have a nickname. I just do Ryan. I don't know how, honestly, like maybe I try and do the N. Maybe I do the N very tall as like a tower, and then I make that the N, the Eiffel Tower in my N. I think that's what I would try.
Do you think you'd do something special with the at? Like, you're Ryan at does too, so you do like the at
do
symbol?
An at for the A? Ooh, that might be interesting. How about, what would you do?
I don't know. I feel like I'd want to try and fit something Irish in, which is like I'd have to like maybe like something. I
don't know if you could put IRA into your sticker. In your
no,
signature.
I could kind of do it like with the O for Slevo. Instead of doing a cross here, I could do like a cross, since like Ireland's like big fucking Catholic, and that's all we're kind of known for. Other than I couldn't put a pint of Guinness in the L, maybe.
I'd love it. I'd actually love it if you did that. That'd be great. All right. Well, I think that's a longer show for us, an hour and a half. Good one. My hair is, look at this. I'm crazy. I've got to make dinner. I've got to go for a walk. I've got to enjoy. It's nice and 60 something here in New York. How's it for you over there? What is it? 11 o'clock at night?
11 o'clock at night, I came in from football just before we started. Producer Martin
you still have your shirt on, don't you, underneath that sweatshirt?
Yeah,
there
Barcelona.
It is. What is it? Oh, Barcelona. Oh, so okay, you're playing.
I couldn't find my Galway jersey,
are you doing? Is it
this
Gaelic
is
football,
Gaelic football? Yeah.
Oh God.
So I got like, I don't know if it's showing up on camera. I got like a beautiful elbow to the jaw. So
nice, good, proud of you for that. That's important. All right, well, that's gonna be the show. Make sure you're checking out everything on dust2.us. Check out all the socials for me and Arnie are all booked for Paris, man. It's gonna be fucking
see ya playoffs.
It's yeah, I can't wait to, we're gonna have, all of us are gonna have a good time. It's gonna be great.
I'm actually so excited. Because it's the last major, it's gonna be like everyone that you have ever met in esports is gonna be there. I feel like
everyone's gonna be there. It's actually gonna be, I think, one of the most insane majors. And hell, with the alcohol sponsors up at the after party is gonna be just as insane. So you didn't even think about that. You didn't even think about that, right?
I did think about it, but I just absolutely, it's gonna be sick. You better not chicken out like last time. So
I chickened out because I had like a 9 a.m. flight and I made that shit. I was making it.
I would have gone straight to the airport.
I thankfully, well, that's what I did. That's what I did for Monterey. I went out with everyone at Monterey, and then it was like midnight, and I was like, I'm just gonna stay up watching TikToks. And then Kinder was like, I'm on the same flight. I was like, great. I'll see you at the car. We'll go together, man. So, all right. I will. We'll see you guys next week. Make sure you're staying tuned to all the stuff. Thank you so much for supporting and watching, and just catch us on all of your favorite podcasting apps. Rate and review. Do all the good stuff. Love you and see ya. Goodbye.